Hello everyone, welcome back and thank you for joining me for today's video where I'm going to be talking all about exercise, body image, dieting and releasing and letting those demons go so that you can fully embrace and love the body that you have. So let's get started. This topic is really important for me actually because I have experienced being quite severely underweight and I've also experienced being more curvy and voluptuous for my body. My journey with dieting actually began when I was about 14. I met a guy and I thought he was really cute and really liked him, and he told me that he liked me but he did fancy another girl, and I compared myself to her, which is what a lot of young women do. And she was so thin, she was so tall, she was so beautiful. And I just remember thinking, wow, okay, she's incredible. I can see why he likes her. And he eventually chose her over me. And it makes complete sense because they had tons of things in common. However, I took that as a personal thing of, it's because I'm fatter and uglier than her. And I spent the next 4 years extreme dieting because I believed that if I became thin, then if a situation like that arose again, I would be the one chosen. It didn't occur to me at the time that it was because they were both really sporty and because they lived really close to each other and got on really well. None of that occurred to me. What occurred to me was the differences physically between us. I just want to start by saying there is absolutely nothing wrong with any body shape. No matter what shape or size you are incredible and you are beautiful, and please don't let anybody ever take that away from you or convince you otherwise. At the time when this guy chose this other girl, I was slightly heavier. I think I probably weighed about 9.5 to 10 stone, which isn't a lot. However, because of the way the weight distributes on my body, I looked slightly plump for my size. Again, there's nothing wrong with that, but little 14-year-old me thought that there was, and she believed she needed to diet. And so I massively restricted my calorie intake, and I went down to 1,000 calories a day, less if I could. I started to wake up at 5:30 every single morning so that I could exercise for at least half an hour to 45 minutes before I went to school. And this would consist of loads of sit-ups, squats, lunges, and then some yoga toning exercises as well. And then in the evening, I would do another half hour of exercise when I got back from school, and I would also eat a very restrictive diet. Sometimes I would just take half a bottle of a smoothie into school with me, or a very small pot of undressed salad. And I was absolutely ravenous when I was at school, but I was determined to lose the weight. And I think I went down to about 7 stone 10 in the space of 6 months maybe, and I was incredibly thin and it was too underweight for me. And I can remember, because I was in the mindset of I need to lose weight, I was thinking to myself, this is so exciting, my BMI is under what it should be, I am technically underweight for my height. This is so cool, I'm bound to be chosen by a boy now. And it makes me very sad to think that that was my mindset and that's how I saw things. And obviously when I become a mother, I hope that I can teach my daughter and her friends that that's not what you need to do, and you just need to love your body as it is, because you are so incredibly beautiful as you are. However, I developed what is called body dysmorphia, where you don't actually see your body the way it actually looks and you see it as it was before you started dieting. So I felt the need, even at 7 stone 10, to keep losing weight, to keep dieting. And I became more and more regimented and set in my way of thinking. I wouldn't eat any treats or anything like that because I would just look at the calories and think, that's awful, that's going to take me over my calorie intake, I can't possibly eat that. And I'll be honest, I actually became quite boring. Friends at school would offer me things and I'd say to them, I can't have that because that's probably got too many calories in. And this continued all the way up until I was about 18. I can remember going to college and I would get pains in my collarbones because I was so thin. I just don't think I was getting all of the goodness that I needed. You know, I wasn't getting the nutrients that I needed in my body. I was also a vegetarian at the time, so I was really underweight. and I wasn't looking after my protein intake. I wasn't making sure I was getting the right amount of vitamins. I felt cold all the time, and I used to always be teased at college because I would have a great big coat with me and I'd wear it nearly all day, and I would wrap it around my legs in lectures to keep me warm because I was so cold. And then when I went to university, things unfortunately went the other way, and instead of extreme dieting, I began to binge eat. And I was very badly bullied at university by my housemates and a couple of people on my course, and that led to me seeking food as a form of comfort. So I went from one extreme to the other, and I can remember taking one of those Bag for Life bags down to the Union Food Outlet, which is ironically the UFO, an alien going to a UFO to get to get snacks. But anyway, so I would go down there and I would just fill it with snacks, just so many. I used to love, dips that you could get, and crisps and biscuits and chocolates, and just anything that I could binge eat I would buy. And then in the evening, if I'd run out of things, I'd walk up to the local nearby petrol station and buy snacks there and eat those, and I was miserably unhappy. And this is just my experience, and I now have a more balanced approach, a more balanced view and perspective, and I love my chocolate, I love my crisps. If you're friends with me, then you definitely know that. But I was using it in the wrong way, and that's the really key thing here. Anything is okay if you use it in the right way, but too much of something, or using it in a negative or toxic or unhealthy way, and it's not serving you. So I went from being this 7 stone 10 to being about 10 stone 2 or 3 within the space of about 8 months. And I was really miserable, and I felt really bad about myself at both ends of the scale. When I was really thin, I still felt very miserable, and I still felt I had to lose more weight, And when I was on the larger side for myself, I again felt really disappointed and ugly, and just didn't really want to leave the room. Then when I left university, as I've mentioned before, I became quite severely depressed, mostly to do with all of the bullying I had been through. And I went to see a kinesiologist, who I can highly recommend seeing kinesiologists. They're amazing. She was able to help me stop craving chocolate. I actually saw an angel. I actually saw a lady who reads angel cards, and she said to me, I'm receiving a message from the angels that you're eating too much chocolate and you need to stop. And I said, yeah, okay, I know, like I'd have chocolate instead of lunch. And yeah, all right. I went to see the kinesiologist on the other side of the room, and she said, oh, I'm being told that you're eating too much chocolate and you need to stop. And I just remember laughing and thinking to myself, okay, I get the message. Thank you, angels. So the kinesiologist, I don't even know what it's called, but she got me to move my arm and my leg in a certain way, and she helped me to stop wanting chocolate and to want more fruit and veg. And I'm not even kidding, it worked a treat. She also muscle tested for any allergies and told me that I was lactose intolerant. And I remember I went home and I had a salad, and I remember thinking, oh, I'd love some grated cheese on this, but I won't have any. She said not to have any dairy. And this was before lacto-free things became a big deal. And so I began an 8-month-long journey without any dairy in my diet. And because I'd moved home and I was starting to seek healing and counselling to get help with regards to the depression and being bullied, I noticed that the way I was eating and the way I perceived food had changed dramatically. No longer was I seeing it as some way to comfort myself, and no longer was I seeing it as something evil that I must avoid. And I just started to eat quite balanced meals. I would still have chocolate or crisps or biscuits or cake, and at the same time I would still have smoothies, I would still have fruit, loads of vegetables, and just naturally the weight fell off me. I think I lost about 1/2 stone in 2 weeks, but that was probably attributed to cutting dairy out of my diet. And then over the course of the next few months, I just found that the weight I had put on as a protective layer to hide me from the bullies just naturally fell away. And I went to 1 yoga class a week and ate a balanced diet, and I noticed that my body went into what I would call its own natural healthy weight. And I felt really good. I felt really energized. I felt really healthy. My skin was really clear. My mind was really clear. And it was a really good space and time for me. And then as time went on, I went on to introduce a bit more chocolate and pizzas and things into my diet. And I did it with a really balanced, healthy approach. I just saw it as, I enjoy this food and therefore I'm going to eat it and enjoy it just naturally in moderation. I was in a really good space mentally, and therefore I wasn't using food, I was enjoying food, and that's a huge key term there. So when I came into this natural space for my weight, I noticed that I felt more myself. I think it's fantastic to be any size that feels good for you, and I think that's really important and something that women especially are not taught. Whatever size feels good for you, honor that, allow that to be your size. And if you put a little bit of weight on, that's okay. And if you lose a little bit of weight, that's okay. Honoring your body and where it is. I also noticed that when I came off contraceptives, I put on weight a lot more easily than I did when I was on the contraceptives, which is kind of contraflow to what everybody else I know experienced. But I noticed that for me, for my body, I held on to the weight more when I was off the contraceptives. So I really want you to take away a message from my story that trying to lose weight and diet to people please is never going to satisfy you. It's never going to be a healthy option. And overeating as a form of comfort when you're going through a difficult time isn't really serving you. And what actually can serve you is healing and talking about it with somebody. And if you are in a space like that, where you have been through something difficult and you are finding that you're relying on food as a form of comfort, then please do come and see me to book a session. There is nothing wrong with being curvaceous, but there is something wrong with reaching for food or alcohol to numb the pain of what you're going through. I'm sure, like me, you must take a lot of inspiration from the incredible body image and body positivity accounts that are around on social media at the moment. When I was growing up, the only images I had were the size 0 women in magazines, and I felt it was healthy and normal to diet. I thought that was just what women did. Women dieted, that's their truth. But I'm so happy and grateful to these amazing women who are removing this very limited, outdated, masculine way of treating and seeing women and their body. And I really hope that for the next generation and the generation beyond that, understanding that your body can be exactly how you would like it to be, as long as you are genuinely happy with it. That is the most important thing. So for me, something that has always been married alongside my diet and my lifestyle is exercise. I happen to love exercise. As I mentioned earlier, when I was younger, I did it quite religiously, half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the evening. And I've managed to balance that out as well. And that's taken a lot longer actually probably to heal and come to terms with, because I got into the mindset when I was younger of, if I exercise, I lose weight, being calorie deficit. That mindset was actually harder to get out of, because of course when you start dieting, it's very much, if you eat a naughty treat, then all you have to do is exercise and you can burn off the calories from that. And even though that is a logical thing to suggest, it isn't a healthy thing to suggest. You shouldn't be eating a chocolate brownie or some ice cream or a slice of birthday cake thinking to yourself, tomorrow I'll burn that off in an exercise class or at home or going for a run. That again isn't loving or healthy towards your body. Instead, I'd like to hope that you would be thinking, I'm going to eat this slice of cake because it's somebody's birthday or it's my birthday and I like this cake and I'm going to really enjoy it and be present in this moment. And then when you exercise, whenever that may be, that you can think, I'm going to enjoy this exercise because I genuinely just get joy from moving my body. I love the feel of the endorphins and their serotonin being released and how that makes me feel in a mental space, as well as physically feeling more energized afterwards. Because when I came into that space, it was a huge transformation for me, and all of a sudden I was actually really enjoying exercise for the fun of it, as opposed to, oh, I must punish myself for eating something that wasn't under 100 calories. I know that for some people exercise is that form of punishment, and for other people they dread exercise because they think, oh god, it's so much effort, or I haven't found exercise that I enjoy. And if you really just haven't found the one that you like, fair enough, that's cool. But for me, I love walking, I love yoga, I love Pilates, which I kind of also really need to do because of all my injuries. I love lifting weights. I really am not keen on HIIT or cardio, and recently I've been doing loads of HIIT, and I'm trying to find gratitude in doing that practice because I'm moving my body and I'm having fun when I'm doing it. I just have never really enjoyed cardio or HIIT, but I'm really trying to retrain my mind to just actually be present and enjoy that. So that's been my challenge for the last couple of months. But I think for me, exercise is a form of self-love because it helps me to feel good mentally. And having suffered with depression, I think actually it's really important that I'm looking after my mental state, and therefore going into an exercise class or watching a video on YouTube, going to the gym or going for a walk, those aren't just forms of moving my body, but they are forms of bringing me mental peace, inner peace. That's really important for me. So perhaps you have something else that you do for your mental peace. Whatever that is, please let me know in the comments below, because I'm always looking for new ways to expand and grow and learn new things. So perhaps it's reading. Perhaps reading just brings you this total space of peace and balances you out on a mental level, and you feel really good. Maybe it's affirmations, maybe it's singing. There could be something else that you're doing that's creative, that's allowing you to just come into that space of peace and feel really good about yourself. I also think it's worth mentioning that I noticed that when I turned 30, I suddenly cared a lot less about what people thought about me. And I'd heard people say that before, you know, oh, when you turn 30, oh, when you turn 40, oh, when you turn 50. And I used to think, yeah, okay, whatever, like surely not. But actually I really did. It's almost as if I turned 30 and I just thought, I like who I am. I like how I look. It's not perfect, but it's pretty darn good, and I'm going to be okay with that. I will never be this young again, so I might as well enjoy it and actually just enjoy how I look, because chances are you are so much more beautiful than you even know that you are. You are so much more sexy than you even know you are. You're so much cooler than you think you are. Chances are that you are. Back on Mary-Lise in her 20s, and I think she had it going for herself. Why did she waste so much time thinking about how other people perceived her and worrying? Let that go. That is not serving you. So my message to you today is to stop worrying about what other people think of you and start being more concerned about how you feel and how you would like to feel. If there's a disparity between the two, what can you do to bridge that gap? How can you come into that space of feeling really good about yourself in terms of your mind, body, and soul? And when those three things are balanced, you're going to be feeling fantastic. You're going to be radiating the most beautiful version of you out into the world. And if I can help you in any way, then please do get in touch to book a counselling or a healing session, and we can work through anything that is stopping you from being connected to your most vibrant, loving self. If you've had any experiences similar to me in the video today, please do let me know in the comments below, because I'd love to support you on your journey, because I would have loved to have had more people there to support me on my journey. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in next week's video.